Hello everybody, Pat Flynn here, and I often see videos on the old YouTube talking about the best exercises for men who just turned 40 or men who are over 40. And of course, I have something to say about this. When do I ever keep my big fat mouth shut? I think there's actually a right way and a wrong way to answer this question. I'm going to give you the right way, but I'm also going to talk about the wrong way before we get to what I believe are the 5 best, actually, kettlebell exercises for men who are 40 plus. Let me just say this to address a possible concern. Pat, you're not 40. What are you even talking about? And this is true. I'm not 40 yet, but I once had a dream where I turned 40, immediately fell asleep to a documentary, and woke up with an unsolicited opinion about mulch. Not only that, but my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather just turned 41, so I've seen this sort of deterioration up close and personal. I can really speak to it. Jokes aside, like I said, there is a better and worse way to answer the question of what you should be doing exercise-wise when you turn 40 or over 40. And the worst way to answer this is to suggest that there's some sort of magical collection of types of exercise that are just like useless and become suddenly the best thing ever when you reach a certain age, when your warranty expires or whatever. That's just not true. I mean, the sorts of exercises that are effective at 40, 50, 60 are the same sorts of exercises that are generally effective for building strength and muscle and all that good stuff when you're 25, 17, you know, the big compound exercises, high degree of neuromuscular facilitation, baby, working close to failure. The basic categories and principles, pretty much the same throughout your whole life. What changes, of course, are the variables of how you program. With that in mind, there are, of course, specific exercises within categories that I think are just better suited for people of a certain age. They can be better suited because of their accessibility, because of the fact that they often can accomplish multiple things at one time. So in my list of what I think are the best exercises for men over 40, I'm looking at kettlebell exercises that will help you to build strength and muscle, so important as we age, not just to preserve muscle, but to really try and build muscle. Keeps us metabolically healthy, helps to keep our body composition levels in check, be resilient to injuries. So we want to make sure we're focusing on that muscle development increasingly as we age, if we haven't already done so in our youth. But also, we should care about conditioning, we should care about mobility. So the exercises I have will help you to do all that in just one routine. You won't need a whole bunch of exercises, and they're accessible and they're time efficient. Chances are, as you increase in your ripeness and maturity, life is just busier, it's more hectic, it's more stressful, so you are looking for efficiency. So with all that in mind, I'm going to show you my favorite kettlebell exercises. Stay tuned, there's a few fan favorites here, but I've made a few little tweaks to make these exciting and I think just very relevant for men over 40. Okay, so the first exercise is the 2-hand kettlebell high pull. This is a swing variation, but it adds an upper body pulling element, so it's going to work the back a bit more, the biceps. It's just more bang for buck. Awesome if you are a busy body person, which most people of a certain age are. Here's what it looks like. It's a 2-hand swing, right? We all know that, but then you pull the handle of the kettlebell to your forehead. So you're just giving a slight tug, drawing the elbows back, and a very strong hip snap to get the height. What you're not doing is shrugging the weight up. The hips pop the weight, the elbows simply start to draw behind you. The movement I want you to think about as if you're just like, giving somebody a friendly elbow to the face behind you. Again, awesome exercise because you get all the benefits of the swing and then some with that high pull action. It's also a great transition or progression toward single arm snatching as well. Okay, this next exercise is a variation on my personal favorite kettlebell exercise, the double clean and press. We're going to tweak it a little bit to make it a little bit more shoulder friendly. This is the double clean and alternating press. So we start with a strong double clean, but instead of pressing both kettlebells simultaneously, we go 1, 2, back to the rack, re-clean. 1, 2, back to the rack, re-clean. Now, why are we doing that way as opposed to this way? Well, this is great, but again, sometimes thoracic shoulder mobility is a little bit limited. It can make that feel squirrely. So the alternating press with 2 kettlebells, we still get that awesome double clean and the benefit of moving 2 kettlebells around, but this tends to just be a little bit more accessible for people who might be restricted with overhead movements, which tends to sometimes be the case once you reach a certain age. If you can push them both up at the same time, great, go for it. Otherwise, try the alternating press. Fantastic upper body and lower body strength, power, and muscle move. Exercise number 3 is everybody's favorite. You knew it was going to make the list. Front squat. No kettlebell
exercise collection would be complete without this big full body movement. The kettlebells come to the rack, you draw your hips right between your legs, you pause at the bottom, you explode up. The kettlebell front squat is tremendous for building lower body power, strength, and muscle. Also great for your posture, great for deep inner core stabilization. Basic exercise, fundamental. I don't care what age you are, you should be doing the double kettlebell front squat. The next exercise is one that I'm already doing. It's just a loaded carry. This is an exercise that is so amazing and so simple, you really can't mess it up. You're just going to pick 2 kettlebells up. I already have them, so I'll pick them up again. You can just deadlift them, hang them off into the suitcase position. If you don't have a lot of room, you can just take a few steps forward, a few steps back. You could walk in a box. It's all good. These are best done for time, and that'll vary depending on how much weight you're using. But before we move on, let me show you a few other carry variations to mix it up. So this is your standard farmer's carry. If you put 1 kettlebell down, this is your suitcase carry. This is going to emphasize your obliques a bit more. Really good to balance out the double carries with the single. If you want to make things a little bit more interesting and in some ways more challenging, we can go to the rack hold carry. So you'll remember this from the press and the squat. Now we're just going to hold it. Long, tall spine. Belly is tight. Glutes are braced. And you can walk here. I encourage it. Builds a lot of just anaconda strength, as Dan John would call it. And then final variation is the overhead carry. Don't do double overhead, just single. You can keep 1 in the rack. You could even bring 1 down to the farmer's position. This is an amazing exercise for shoulder mobility, shoulder stability, upper body strength, grip strength. Carries are so underrated. They're so simple, they're so effective, and they're just so practical. So do them. Okay, this last exercise is pretty much one of the best movements to cure whatever ails you mobility-wise. It's a kettlebell windmill. So let me show you it and explain why it's awesome. You might want to even start without weight. In fact, I would recommend that if you've never done this before. But for the experienced user, kettlebell goes overhead. You point your feet at a 45. Now, importantly for a windmill, you're not bending at the side. What you're doing is you're pushing your hip back and you're rotating. So it's hip flexion and thoracic rotation. Don't even worry about going down so much. Worry more about pushing into that hip and rotating like a corkscrew, looking up your arm, keeping your eye on the kettlebell until you unwind. So great for stretching, not just the hamstrings and the posterior chain, but the back, man. Unwinding that tight back, opening the shoulders, teaching and forcing the shoulders to stabilize in important positions. If you want the best sort of bang for buck mobility exercise, which you do, I know you do, that's why you're watching this video, you need to be doing kettlebell windmills. So there you have it, my friends. Those are my 5 favorite exercises, or most recommended exercises for people who are over 40. Again, nothing crazy here. These are really just sort of variations on the fundamentals with a little thought about how to tweak exercises here and there to make them either a little bit more accessible, interesting, or effective for people of a certain age. But the truth is, remember that what works is typically what works at any age. And really what you should be thinking about is programming. How do I put these exercises together in a way that's going to be super effective for my goals? I have lots of videos on this channel you can check out. If you want to build strength and muscle, head over to my Prometheus protocol video. It makes good use of 2 exercises you've seen here, the double press and the front squat. So if you're looking for a little something to build more strength and muscle, so important as we get older, check that out. Strong on. Before you go, if you want to be so much more awesome and fit, then grab this book, and there is a 100.7796 and 10/3% chance that all that is going to happen in your life very quickly. It's called Strong On. It's on Amazon. Everybody loves it. They can't stop talking about it, especially how orange the cover is. Go get it.